Hey everyone, Little House of Geeky here. I'm not sure I will ever get used to Loona continually surpassing my expectations and bringing something new every single comeback. Why Not really is fantastic, isn't it? And it brings so much to the table in terms of the development of Loona's story and their evolving message. Why Not explores the power in self-acceptance and the influence or repercussions of power, depending on how you interpret it. I'm going to analyze the key motifs of this music video, how it develops Loona's visual language as well as its message, and then come to a conclusion about how this factors into the ever-expanding universe. But before I do that, I need to acknowledge just how much is going on in this video. There are so many complex elements at play here that it took me a good while just figuring out how to say what I wanted to in a cohesive way. I've watched the video so many times. I've completely avoided watching anyone else's videos or read any comments just so, I could keep my head clear. So if I miss any scenes you found really important, comment down below at the end of the video. I'd really love to read them. As a side note, if someone could tell me what that is, what's going on with that, I don't know. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's keeping me up at night. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Duality. That's the term that kept popping up in my mind throughout the entire video. We have such stark contrasts on every level here. The costumes and color palettes and general style between scenes was changing drastically, and it wasn't just for the sake of making a visually distinctive music video. It was to show us the duality of Loona and their multifaceted power. I'm first going to jump into the different styles that we have. A bold and loud chaotic setting with bright lights and outfits, to a soft, natural setting with vast, open, simple landscapes and simpler flowing costumes. We have two very different worlds here, but they exist in the same space. One is loud and brazen but restrictive, the other is gentler and open but daunting. We begin the video with a focus on the former, a car circling through heavy smoke. Olivia Hay in the middle forming a perfect circle around her in an overhead shot. Hijin in a dark and dynamic set, with neon lighting lit up behind her. Cherry in a small square surrounded by fake neon flames, herself mirrored in darkness above her. These shots are all confining and restrictive. Notice how Hijin and Cherry are in an off aspect ratio? Further communicating to us their position. These women are either very small in the frame or in a tight close-up, with a focus on quick cuts. It's jarring and unpredictable, and that's the point. We aren't sure where this is going yet, and they never actually let up on that feeling with really irregular pacing, suggesting a dissonance within the story. This is contrasted with Kim Lip. Her frame is landscape. It's opened up into a vast ethereal expanse. Though the three moons or spheres are well established symbol in the Loonaverse, specifically linked to Odd Eye Circle's powers, are ominous and unsettling for her, the frame and the setting itself invites us in a very different way to previous scenes. This brings us back to Hijin in a setting almost mirroring a reality from her first scene. Real lightning in the background, it's nature, not imitated or contained by humans. The power of nature comes to fruition here. Hijin stares at us as asteroids crash down behind her. I think we can interpret the neon lighting as the power of Loona restricted or contained. It's a cheap imitation. Now for a moment, I want you to put aside your theories that you have in your head about multiple universes, multiple versions of Loona, and right now assess what we are being told, which is Kim Lip's strange and uncertain powers having brought about Hijin's. Hijin was in a confining space which imitated her powers. So let's move on to the second key element of this video, color. Red has been an integral element to the Loonaverse. It was key to Hijin's development in Vivid, the first song, something I delve into with a previous video I'll link down below, and Kim Lip's Awakening. It's also Kim Lip's color. But it later became much more ominous, with vague yet very powerful implications with YY by Y and Olivia Hay It's a colour that signifies power and change in their story, and it's important to note how incredibly prevalent and strong it is here with many scenes. What is equally as important is to note the colour blue and how bold it is in many shots and often at odds with red. Though blue is a colour associated with Jinsol, it is prevalent throughout the filmography. I personally see it as a colour of influence. Blue has a much more gentle feeling, and I'd be remiss not to mention Loona's recurring blue butterfly symbol associated with koan and change in the Loonaverse. These two colours have been a prominent contrast throughout Loona's music videos. They are also associated with Jinsol and Olivia Hayes' connection. Take note of Jinsol's rap. The colours blue and red are on her face, but it's coupled with a shifting of the camera back and forth with a blurring in and out, further emphasizing an increasingly blurred duality and connection within Loona and the lines. Now, blue and red are frequently used by cinematographers to create visually dynamic shots, so keep in mind I might be stretching the analysis here further into Loona's music videos than perhaps they were intended, but due to our understanding of how certain colours work within the Loonaverse and work with the women of Loona, I feel that it's safe to assume the contrast of red and blue has held meaning for a long while, and it's coming to a head here. So, let's sit back and analyse these two elements.
Are you ready? Yes.
Man-made, bold environments are in chaotic disarray with restrictive and unnatural powers. Natural settings are open and unrestrictive. They are also associated with powerful and unpredictable forces of nature. The colours blue and red, which signify two elements, are prevalent and at odds with each other. So what can we gather from this is two sides of Loona and two sides of power. We see the impact of power for both good and bad. Loona only ascends as they embrace both sides of themselves. So what message does that give us? There are so many qualities we are told to suppress and hide. Be a good girl, dress a certain way, wear your hair a certain way, don't stand out, don't make others uncomfortable. But what if we explored our darker sides? Our bold and confident side that they tell us is too much for others? What if that brought about an inner power we were destined for? Now, let's get to the Loonaverse. First of all, I'm going to tell you the two most important scenes in this music video and then explain why they are integral with moving forward. The first being Queen Koan observing, or perhaps even creating, a hurricane, or rather, a powerful natural event. The second being Olivia Hay, a morally ambiguous member of Loona, with her companions. Olivia stares boldly into the camera as her companions' eyes glow red, like hers did in Egoist. Before this, we have only seen the positive influence of Loona on the world and themselves, coming together and helping each other, freeing others and themselves. And we do here too. Despite Hyunjin showing us that they are still incomplete, it is a self-empowering music video. Their influence on the people and the world outside of Loona, however, has also grown. And with that, we ask, is the story of Loona a journey through good and evil? Was their unending loop, their restraints, put in place to protect?